Hey, you. Let's jump straight into something I think we've all been through.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
You're speaking English, it's going okay, conversation's flowing, and then bam.
Oh,
Yeah, a word you definitely know, when you've used loads of times, it just vanishes.
right. Completely gone mid-sentence.
Exactly. And you're just left hanging there, maybe feeling a bit panicked. Sometimes you might even just switch back to your own language because it's, well, easier.
Hmm? That definitely rings a bell. Super common.
It really is. But we don't often talk about why it happens. So today, that's what we're diving into.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. We think this isn't really a memory problem, fundamentally.
Ah, interesting. So it's not about not knowing the word.
Not primarily, no. It seems to be much more about how we've trained our brains to access the words we already have.
Okay. Like the retrieval process.
Precisely. So our mission here is to give you a solid strategy, something concrete, to beat those blanks and speak English more confidently, more smoothly, even if your vocabulary isn't huge yet.
And what's fascinating really is why this happens. You can kind of think of your vocabulary like a huge, maybe slightly messy digital folder on your computer.
Okay, I can picture that. Lots of files.
Exactly. And when you're under pressure, like in a real conversation, trying to find that specific file, that one word you need, it just gets way harder.
Right. The pressure makes it harder to search.
Uh-huh. So our goal isn't necessarily just stuffing more files in there, but creating clearer, faster pathways to the files. Efficient retrieval.
Got it. So less about storage, more about access speed.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
We need to shift from just passively knowing words to actively training our brains to pull them out instantly, especially when things are a little stressful, like, actually talking to someone.
Which, as you said, that ability really gets stronger just by doing it, right? Speaking
Yeah.
in real situations, not just studying lists.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect, or at least much faster.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Step one, you mentioned recall over recognition training. Can you explain that difference a bit more?
Sure. So recognition is when you see or hear a word and you understand it, like reading or listening. Most vocabulary study focuses on this.
Okay, that makes sense. Passive understanding.
Right. But fluency,
Huh.
that feeling of speaking easily, that comes from recall, actively pulling the word from your brain when you want to use it.
Ah, the active use part. So how do we train that?
Well, here's a simple exercise anyone can try, like today. Take maybe 5 words you learned recently.
Okay, 5 words.
Now, put away your notes, no cheating. Try to explain what each word means out loud, just using your own English.
Just explain the meaning. Okay.
And then the second part, try to use each of those 5 words in a sentence. Again, spoken out loud.
Right, so define it and use it, all spoken.
Exactly. And here's the crucial bit. That moment when you hesitate, when you can't quite remember the word.
Yeah, the frustrating bit.
Well, actually, that feeling, that little struggle, is incredibly productive for your brain. It might feel like you're failing, but
But it's actually helping.
because in that moment, your brain is actively working to build a stronger, faster connection specifically for using that word. Like it's flagging it as important for active recall.
Huh. So the struggle isn't failure, it's the brain actually building the fluency muscle.
Precisely. It's figuring out that faster route for next time, like you said earlier.
Okay, I like that reframe. The struggle is good. Now, step two, you mentioned creating high pressure practice zones. That sounds intense.
It sounds more dramatic than it is. It just means practicing speaking when conditions aren't, perfect library silence.
Okay, so not ideal conditions. Like what?
Like maybe try talking when there's some background noise or you're a bit tired or maybe you're doing something else at the same time.
Like talking while cooking dinner. Or walking.
Exactly. Or maybe have the TV on low in the background, not watching it, just having it there as a slight distraction.
Why do that? Why make it harder on purpose?
Well, think about real life. When do we actually talk? It's rarely in perfect, quiet, focused conditions, is it?
True. There's always something going on. People walking by, phones ringing.
Right. There's background noise, maybe time pressure, the inherent stress of just trying to communicate well. So by practicing in these slightly messy conditions,
You're making your brain used to it, building resilience.
exactly that. You train your brain to perform under that mild pressure. So when a real conversation happens, the normal distractions don't make you freeze up quite so easily.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Simulate the real world. Now, this next one sounds really practical. Building a rescue vocabulary.
Yes. This is about having a few phrases ready to go for those moments when your mind just goes blank on a specific word.
Like little lifelines, what sort of phrases?
Really simple, flexible ones. Things like, what I'm trying to say is, Or maybe, hang on, let me put that in another
Or
way.
even just, give me a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever feels natural. The point is, these phrases do two key things.
Okay, what are they?
First, they buy you a little bit of time. Time to think, time to maybe retrieve that word without just having awkward silence.
Right, fills the gap. And the second thing,
They help you keep your confidence up. Instead of freezing and feeling flustered, you have a smooth way to handle the moment. You stay in control.
I see. So it's not just about time, it's about maintaining composure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really shows that good communication isn't always about having the perfect word instantly.
No.
It's often about being strategic with the language you do have. Resourcefulness.
I like that. Strategic communication. Which kind of leads into the next technique, right? Practicing word fishing. Sounds intriguing.
Yeah. It's a bit like it sounds. When you forget a specific word, instead of stopping or switching languages,
You try to describe it.
yes, you try to describe the word out loud using other English words you do know. You sort of talk around it.
Okay, give me an example.
All right, let's say you want the word whisk,
Mm.
for eggs, but it's gone, blank.
Okay. Happens all the time with kitchen stuff for me.
Right. So instead of silence, you could say, oh, that thing you use in the kitchen for mixing eggs or cream.
It's made of metal wires, usually.
Yeah, and you move it really fast. It makes things fluffy, and often just by describing it.
The word pops back. Or maybe the person you're talking to says, oh, a whisk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Either way, it works. Firstly, you kept speaking English, right? You didn't give up.
Yeah.
That keeps the fluency practice going.
Good point. Stay in the target language.
And secondly, it trains your brain to be creative with the vocabulary you have. It proves that fluency isn't about knowing every word, but about communicating your meaning effectively, even if you have to take a slightly longer route sometimes.
Yeah, finding ways around the gaps, that's a really useful skill. Now, you also mentioned a perspective shift, language being 80% reaction, not memory. That sounds counterintuitive.
It does a bit, maybe.
Hmm.
But think about a real conversation. How much of it is you reciting a pre-planned speech with perfect vocabulary?
None of it. Mostly.
Right. Mostly you're reacting, responding to what the other person just said, building on it, asking questions back. It's dynamic.
It's more like improv than a script.
Exactly. So while memory for words is important, maybe we overfocus on just memorizing lists and underfocus on improving our reaction time in English. How quickly and smoothly can we respond?
So how do we practice reaction time? Is it just having more conversations?
Conversations are great, but you can also do specific exercises, like those quick prompt drills.
Like the ones you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Things like, okay, describe the room you're in right now. You have 10 seconds. Go.
Oh, wow. Okay. Pressure.
Or, tell me how you're feeling today, but you can't use the word happy or sad.
Forces you to think fast and use different words.
Exactly. It trains that quick access, reactive language skill. It's less about perfect grammar or vocabulary in that moment, and more about just producing language quickly. It builds automaticity.
Like playing scales on a piano, maybe? Makes the real music flow better later.
That's a great analogy, yes. It makes the actual conversational performance smoother.
Okay, final key idea then. This one also sounded a bit surprising. Learn less, use more. Isn't the goal always more words?
Well, yes and no. It's very easy, especially for keen language learners, to fall into the trap of constantly trying to learn new words.
Yeah, making endless flashcard decks.
Right. But they don't spend enough time actually using the words they already learned, or the new ones they just added. They stay passive.
And then they forget them again. The classic cycle.
Exactly. So if you find yourself frequently forgetting words you thought you knew, it might be a sign you're in that zone. Learning too much, using too little.
So what's the alternative, the challenge?
The challenge is this. Maybe for the next week, instead of aiming for 20 new words, pick just 5. 5 words you really want to master.
Okay, only 5. That feels manageable.
And then your mission is to actively use those 5 words every single day. Say them out loud. Write sentences with them. Record yourself using them. Try to explain them to someone.
Really work them into your active English?
Yes, because the simple truth is the words you remember best, the ones that come out easily when you speak, are the ones you use most often.
It's the active application that makes them stick, not just seeing them on a list.
Precisely. Active use builds those strong, fast recall pathways we talked about earlier.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. Forgetting words isn't. It's not a personal failing, is it?
Not at all. It's usually just a signal that your practice methods might need a tweak.
More speaking, more recall practice, maybe a bit of that good pressure.
Exactly. Smart, daily, spoken practice, pushing yourself just a little bit outside your comfort zone. That's how you build real flow, not just by relying on memory alone.
Don't fear the struggle. Embrace it as brain training.
You got it.
All right, so to help everyone listening put this into action right away, a little
Yeah,
challenge.
let's do it. So imagine there's a comment section right below where you're listening to this.
Okay.
We want you to try writing a sentence in there. Use a word you often struggle to remember when you're speaking.
Could be any word they find tricky.
Any word. But here's the twist. If, as you're writing, you blank on the word, don't just stop.
Do the word fishing thing.
Yes. Try to describe the word in English instead. Let's use that space to practice building these speaking reflexes together.
I love that. A collective practice space. And hey, if this whole topic, speaking without getting stuck, really hits home for people,
If they want more.
yeah. If you'd be interested in, say, a whole series diving deeper into this, just let us know. Maybe leave a comment saying, I'm in.
Yeah, that'd be great feedback for us. If people want to go from feeling hesitant to feeling, unstoppable in their English speaking,
We could definitely explore that more. I'm in. Let us
right.
know.
Fantastic. But ultimately, the main takeaway for today is just shift your focus a bit. Prioritize using the language, practicing actively, consistently.
It's a journey, not just about collecting words.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Keep practicing, keep using what you know, and those word blanks will definitely start to fade.